So the prenuptial agreement, where you need to determine a cessate. So basics of the prenuptial agreement plan. So courts are willing to uphold premarital agreements contrary to previous judicial scrutiny that they were only useful for encouraging breakups. Their prevalence, equality between the sexes, and court willingness to apply precedents has increased the credibility of prenuptial agreements. The prenuptial agreement must be clear, understandable, and legally sound. So, it's a contract. And so anyone who is signing a contract has to understand what they are signing. And so therefore, prenuptial agreements take some time to make sure that each party understands what is going on. It is a written contract formed before marriage to outline legal rights acquired through marriage. It further outlines what happens when there is a dissolution of marriage and or when the marriage ends by death. It supersedes default marriage laws established by state, especially those laws that govern the distribution of assets and property, including retirement benefits, savings, and the right to seek alimony. It may contain a waiver of surviving spouse's rights to claim an elective share of the estate of the deceased spouse. You can use the prenuptial agreement to pass separate property to children from previous marriages. Surviving spouses have a right to claim property from the deceased spouse, which leaves little for the children. The prenuptial agreement clarifies financial rights and responsibilities during the marriage. The prenuptial agreement protects spouses from debts. Without a prenuptial agreement, state laws that determine ownership of marital property and what happens to that property during divorce and or death. Property acquired during the marriage is considered community property, and that depends on statutes, and it is subject to distribution. Marriage is a contract. There are automatic rights afforded to each marital partner. Spouses may share ownership of property acquired during marriage, acquire and incur debt, and share in the management and control of marital property. Knowledge checks. So prenuptial agreement plan. Considering your academic, professional, and personal goals, especially in pursuit of financial stability, answer the following. What are your prenuptial agreement planning strengths? What are your prenuptial agreement planning weaknesses? What are your prenuptial agreement planning opportunities? What are your prenuptial agreement planning threats? And this is something that you definitely got to consider, because people really get upset when you ask them to sign a prenuptial agreement. But if you remember just from the previous side, that it could help to outline obligations and debts that you can outline within the prenuptial agreement, that you are not responsible for their child support or their alimony or their tax obligations or their debt obligations. I think it's very, very important. I'm not going to push a certain ideology on this. It would just be important. It would just be a lot better for you to research this on your own in terms of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But it's not a bad idea for even the non-rich person to get to have their both partners sign prenuptial agreements.